History is filled with tales of rebellion, but only one slave revolt in the history of the world was truly successful. This is the story of the Haitian Revolution, a 13-year struggle for freedom that shook empires, redefined the meaning of liberty, and created the world's first Black Republic. Our story begins in the late 18th century, in the French colony of Saint-Domingue. This wasn't just any colony, it was the most profitable colony in the world. Known as the Pearl of the Antilles, it produced nearly half of the world's sugar and coffee. But this incredible wealth was built on a foundation of unimaginable cruelty. Hundreds of thousands of enslaved Africans were forced to labor under brutal conditions, with a life expectancy so short that the slave population could only be maintained by constant importation of new captives from Africa. The society was a powder keg, with a small population of white planters and officials at the top, a mixed-race group of free people of color who owned property but lacked rights, and a massive, oppressed enslaved majority at the bottom. Then in 1789, thousands of miles away in Paris, revolution erupted. The French people rose up, demanding liberté, égalité, fraternité, liberty, equality, fraternity. The ideals of the French Revolution spread like wildfire across the Atlantic, reaching the shores of Saint-Domingue. The white colonists saw it as a chance to gain more autonomy from France. The free people of color saw it as an opportunity to demand equal rights. But for the enslaved population, these words meant something far more profound. The possibility of an end to their bondage. The spark was lit. On a stormy night in August 1791, a Vodou priest named Dutty Boukman presided over a secret ceremony. He called upon the spirits of Africa and swore an oath of vengeance against their French oppressors. Days later, the northern plains of Saint-Domingue exploded in a coordinated uprising. Plantations were set ablaze, and the enslaved rose up with machetes, torches, and an unquenchable thirst for freedom. The most profitable colony in the world was now the site of the most terrifying slave revolt its masters had ever seen. The rebellion was chaotic at first, but it soon found its leaders, extraordinary figures who rose from the ranks of the enslaved to become brilliant generals and statesmen. The most famous of these was Toussaint Louverture. A former coachman who had been granted his freedom, Louverture was a self-educated, strategic genius. He understood politics, diplomacy, and warfare. He took the scattered bands of rebels and forged them into a disciplined army. He played the competing European powers, France, Spain, and Britain, against each other, all while consolidating his own power and working to secure freedom for his people. By 1801, Louverture controlled the entire island of Hispaniola and had issued a constitution that abolished slavery forever. He was the de facto governor, a black leader ruling over a territory that had once been the jewel of the French Empire. But the story was far from over. Across the ocean, another powerful figure was rising, Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon had his own vision for a grand French empire in the Americas, and a free black population in Saint-Domingue was not part of that plan. He saw Toussaint Louverture as an obstacle to be removed. In 1802, Napoleon sent the largest expeditionary force ever to leave France. Commanded by his own brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc, an army of over 40,000 veteran soldiers landed with a single, secret mission: to restore slavery. At first, the French seemed unstoppable. They had superior weapons and training. Many of Louverture's own generals, believing French promises of maintaining abolition, defected. Louverture himself was tricked into a meeting, captured, and deported to a freezing prison in the French Alps, where he would die months later. Warning his captors that in overthrowing him, they had only cut down the trunk of the tree of liberty. Its roots were deep and would sprout again. He was right. When news leaked of Napoleon's true intention to bring back the chains of slavery, the rebellion reignited with even greater fury. The fight was now led by Louverture's most trusted and ruthless general, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. The Haitian fighters, now facing a war of extermination, responded in kind. They waged a brutal, scorched earth campaign, burning cities and fields to deny the French any supplies. Nature itself seemed to join the fight as yellow fever swept through the unacclimatized French army, killing thousands, including Leclerc himself. The once mighty European army was decimated, defeated not just by disease, but by the unbreakable will of a people who would rather die free than live as slaves. On January 1st, 1804, Dessalines stood before his victorious people and did the unthinkable. He declared the colony's independence, ripping the white stripe from the French tricolour flag to create the Haitian flag. He cast aside the French colonial name of Saint-Domingue and reclaimed the island's indigenous Taino name, Haiti, meaning land of high mountains. It became the first independent nation in Latin America and the Caribbean, the world's first black republic, and the second independent republic in the Americas after the United States. It was the only nation in history born from a successful slave revolt. The impact was immediate and monumental. For Napoleon, the loss of Haiti was a devastating blow. Without the immense profits from its sugar and coffee, his dream of a North American empire crumbled. A year later, in 1803, he sold a vast territory to the United States in what became known as the Louisiana Purchase, doubling the size of the young American nation. So, in a very real way, the Haitian Revolution shaped the map of the United States as we know it today. Globally, Haiti became a beacon of hope for enslaved and colonized people everywhere. It inspired uprisings and abolitionist movements across the Americas. But for the slave-holding powers of the world, like the United States, Britain, and France, Haiti was a terrifying symbol. They feared that its example would inspire their own enslaved populations to rise up. As a result, they subjected Haiti to a political and economic quarantine, refusing to recognize its independence for decades. This isolation came at a terrible price. In 1825, France returned with warships and an ultimatum: pay an enormous indemnity to compensate the former French slaveholders for their lost property, including the formerly enslaved people themselves, or face war and re-enslavement. Forced into an impossible position, Haiti agreed. This independence debt, which amounted to 150 million francs, crippled Haiti's economy for over a century. The nation that had freed itself through sheer force of will was now shackled by a debt it would not finish paying until 1947. The story of the Haitian Revolution is a complex one. It's a story of incredible triumph against impossible odds, a testament to the human spirit's desire for freedom. It's also a story of immense sacrifice and a legacy of struggle that continues to this day. It's a chapter of world history that is too often overlooked, but one that fundamentally changed the course of the Americas and the world. It proves that even in the face of the most powerful empires, the fight for liberty and dignity can and did win. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as powerful as I do, please hit the like button and subscribe for more hidden histories that shaped our world. See you next time.